Good morning. This is Mornings with Michael for informational educational purposes. I did not do a presentation yesterday, and I'm going to finish up on the market. Um, so I did a little more research, and I'm going to share that with you. First, I have a look at some of the screens putting pressure on the market, and then I got a little PowerPoint, and then I got some issues that seem to be holding up well and that may bode well for the future. So that's what we got in store for today. Let me share the screen first. We'll look at the S&P blotter, S&P 500. NVIDIA was down. I got a screen showing how this was a pump and dump issue. They pumped it up after hours and then dumped it. I have a more little detail about that. But most of tech bounced back yesterday. I think it was in light volume. Most of the market was up a little bit yesterday. Mainly, I think towards the close, it sold off at the beginning, and we have a little bullish hammer pattern that we'll take a look at. And that's it for the blotter. We're going to skip the news today. And then first, let's share our screen. Stop the share here. Share our screen, go to some charts. First, this is little petroleum index. Callon Petroleum seems to be holding up well. Did a little bit of bounce yesterday in a little lighter volume. But let's look at the dollar. Dollar continues strong, and this is going to put pressure on stock prices. We see a pretty huge volume in it. Like I said before, overseas people who don't have strength in the currencies, they're moving into the dollar. But there are risks ahead for the dollar as well, which I have more in my PowerPoint presentation. So let's look at the 0T and X yields on the 10-year bond. Bouncing as well. It did stay come down towards the end, so this is what gave the stock indexes a chance to bounce. And the 20-year is down on the day. So that's that. We're going to stop the share. We're going to go into our PowerPoint, see if we can find that to share. Here's our PowerPoint. This is look at the diamonds, Dow Jones stocks. Got a little hammer pattern here as it bounces up towards the end. The CCI and stochastics are bouncing as well, moving higher. So it looks like we could have another 1 to 3 days of move up in the Dow Jones. Here's the small cap IWM. Kind of looks like it hit its bottom. Once again, we got a hammer pattern. So it looks like could trend up a couple more days. Stochastics and CCI are bouncing up. Let's go to the NASDAQ. Once again, we got a hammer pattern as things bounce towards the end of the day. Looks like the CCI and stochastics is going down, so there's a little bit of divergence there. But volume was heavy, and it bounced up in a little hammer pattern. So we had a bullish engulfing over here, which what means it engulfed all the other moves for the past 3 days, and got a hammer pattern off of the bottom. S&P 500, like all the other moving averages, got a bullish hammer pattern coming off the bottom. It got a green as it moved up. Similar to the NASDAQ, we got a divergence. Got this stochastics moving up and the CCI moving down. So that's where we look there. S&P downgrades similar to Moody's and cutting U.S. banks amid tough climate. Chairman Powell said the more interest rates are probably in the works as they move to get inflation down to 2%. Right now it's at, last reading was 4.1%. Fed Chair Jackson Hole, here's a real risk for the S&P 500 stocks. And it's not for the better when it comes to inflation. We'll look in another slide that I got here. Shows that there are other risks to inflation down the future, even as they try to raise interest rates to get a hold on it. Interesting, after payroll report came out higher, they revised it down at least 306,000 lower than previously reported after nobody was looking, and it's already been a part of what people are looking at for stock prices. So every month has been revised lower so far, which isn't good news. Now this is a look at NVIDIA, which I said was a pump and dump before. As the news came out, they pumped it up to, I believe it went as high as 512. And then so this is after the market, and then this is all pre-market, and moved it up. And then as soon as the market opens, all the big financial companies dump their shares of the stock. And it's been hovering right around 490 right now. 512 to 490. Not a huge dump, but still, they enticed everybody to come in and buy, and then they sold it off and pulled their money off the table. Are masks making a comeback? Now, in areas that were pro shutdown, this woman on Twitter, you can find her at Natalie G WINT, is tracking as receipts from the pro shutdown people who are buying huge amounts of masks. There's worries about hospital admissions and COVID as the flu season comes up. So this is a risk for our market as well. Will they try to shut down their businesses again? We hope it's not as bad as it was in the past, but there we go. And finally, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South America, inviting 6 countries, including Saudi Arabia and Iran. And we know Iran isn't a friend of the U.S. To move into their own currency, supported by buying gold. They're inviting Argentina, Egypt, Iran, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE to become new members of the bloc. So this has a risk of the dollar, oil dollar rising. This is what I said early before, inflation coming up. As much as they raise interest rates, if oil keeps rising, even if they don't have it a part of the inflation numbers, it affects our food prices and other price transportation. And so we'll have to keep our eye on this. So that's that. And now I have 3 different sectors. I want to take a look at some stocks that are holding up. Let's go to our charts. First, in the oil area, Frontline had a nice bounce, got some pretty good volume. They had earnings of 327%. And before we move on, have 13.9% dividend yield. Look at Torm, UK company. Seems to be holding up okay. Looks like it's working on a cup with a handle, looking on a handle over here. Although we did have some high volume selling, but it sold off a little bit, and then the buyers came in to support it right around the 10-day moving average. And Torm has a 26.4% dividend yield. We don't want to buy it based on the yield, but we'll just continue to watch to see if this cup with handle plays out and we get positive volume moving forward. Let's come on. Share screen again. We look at International Seaways. We got a consolidation over here, tried to break out, and then it pulled back again. They have 1.1% yield. Their earnings came in at 110%, 22% earnings surprise. And we'll go over here to the daily. Looks like a big cup with handle. So we'll see if we can get some volume coming in and continue to watch this. TK Tankers. See what we got for a yield. I believe 2.4% yield. We had a consolidation where it broke out, and now it's got a what we call a base on base consolidation, or it could be a saucer with a handle. And it's pulled back to his 50-day moving average and then bounce back a little bit. We'll just have to see if it can get any buyers over here. And then we'll take a look at our last one, which is ESTA. Got a pretty big bounce in ESTA. Their earnings over here came down in negative 59%, but was 4.5% better. Gapped up over here. And it's remained a pretty good channel, even though it gapped up here. Continue to watch that one. And that's our look at the oil area. So that was the oil area. Now we're going to go look at some tech issues that I think could possibly be building support. We'll go through these quickly. See if this will clear here. So first, Fastly was a big winner in the past. We could take a look at it on a monthly basis first. We can see a huge run up off of an IPO base and then sold off as we went into our bear market. And now it looks like it's coming back. Earnings seem to be improving, negative 23, a negative 3 cents next year. Got some good volume coming in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of I don't know, maybe 12 days here. Yesterday we got some pretty good volume. We just take a look here at the line. You can see the relative strength line has moved into new high ground here. So it moved into high ground here, pulled back a little bit, and now it's broken into high ground again. So you could take a look at buying on this day, or definitely this day as it broke out in a true breakout, and the line comes across here. So there's always a risk with interest rates and rising interest rates, but out of all techs, these are the ones that I think look the best at the moment. Splunk came out with their earnings last week. Huge gap up. Earnings were up 689%, a 58% earnings surprise, and it's continuing strong volume next day as well. We got VMware. We got a few days of buying, 1, 2, 3, the 2 days of selling. Earnings are in 5 days, so that's the risk. The relative strength has moved into new high ground against the S&P 500. The earnings are negative, but they're jumping up a little bit next year, up 494 this year, up 448 next year. So we'll continue to watch that. SPSC, SBS Commerce provides supply chain management software to distributors and suppliers. Kind of shaping a cup base here. Continue to watch that and see if that develops. Relative strength is at 92, beats 92% of all the other companies out there. Just see if the relative strength can go into new high ground. So that's where it needs to rise above. Innodata. We got a relative strength rating of 99. Looks like it's about ready to go into new high ground. Like we looked before, we like to see things in a shelf pattern. It's not wanting to let me draw for some reason. Here we go. Where the stock just won't go down. There's always buyers coming in if it retreats any bit. So we'll just see if it can break into this little blue box. And that would be, looks like $14.14 would be a good area. So we'll keep that on, see if we can keep that on a watch. In infrastructure, Consolidated Water. We had like 3 strong buying days here. 1, 2, 3, kind of closed on its low here and started the consolidation. We got some strong buying coming in, although it didn't come above our average line, but it's still strong from the previous few days. And their earnings were up 167%, 140% earnings surprise, 169% earnings increases here. A little pullback next year. And look at pay. Pay, once again, it looks like it's in a shelf pattern after gapping up. It's getting support. Earning relative strength is 96, beats 96% of all other companies out there. Going to see if it can move up into a higher line. Earnings are up 107%, and then next year 24%. Firm got a huge volume yesterday. It was up 29%. Earnings are supposed to go up 151% next in 2025. And finally, BFS. Look at that move. This is an automaker, Vietnam-based company that manufactures electric SUVs. Seems to be coming to the US. Huge volume. It's not a buyable area. Look forward to a retreat and consolidate somewhere, but look at all that volume. It's incredible. So now we move into biotech. I think this could be an area where, as tech stocks retreat because of the high yields, maybe money could be moving into here. Elite Bio. I got nobody is competing in the area where they have the special drug. Let me just bring up the news article. And share this with everybody. So Tinlarebant is their drug being evaluated in late-stage study for the treatment of eye diseases like geographic atrophy, GA, and autosomal recessive Stargardt disease. Is an oral once-daily retinol binding protein 4 antagonist, which works by early intervention for maintaining the health and integrity of retinal tissues in Stargardt and geographic atrophy patients. So there's no approved administered treatments for GA, which represents a high unmet medical need. So that's why this has been trending. Stop the share there. Go back to our screen. Look at all this volume of buying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of really 6 days. 5 out of 7 days. Strong buying. It's moved up 72% from the bottom on this news that people have found out. Local Alameda company, Excel, looks like it's starting to trend. Broke out this area over here. If I could only draw a straight line. But there you see it. Volume is starting to pick up a little bit, not as high as it was around as earnings. Earnings came in at 28 cents, 11% change, 138% earnings surprise. So people are starting to look at this biotech that develops for treatments for cancer. They're profitable, which many biotechs aren't. And it looks like their profit is supposed to continue to trend higher. This is a new biotech IPO. Develops therapeutic based on tumor infiltrating lymphocyte. Had a tight trading range and then sold off. And now we got some volume coming back into here. So we're not sure if it's in the institutional gathering under the covers look, but could be an IPO base it's building here. But is up a little over 6% on Friday. Now I'm having trouble finding this one. See if this is the one I was looking for. Apogee. I don't think this is the one I wanted, but it is in the tight area. But I was looking for one in biotech. Well, we'll just move on to our next one. Sagament, another IPO. It sold off a lot, and now it looks like we got some buying coming into it. IPO base was over here. I believe they started their due diligence phase, where institutional investors are investigating the company. So another one that we should keep an eye on, although their relative strength is only at 13. BBIO, gapped up, develops advances in transformative medicine to treat patients who suffer from Mendelian diseases. Once it gapped up, it's in pretty tight formation. Got good volume over here, and it's at relative strength rating of 99. We'll just see if it can break up above the previous highs over here. ARGX, ADR, huge gap up. I know the price is kind of expensive, but must be some volume going under here. Netherlands biotech company develops therapies to treat severe autoimmune diseases and cancer. Still not profitable. So the volume has been pretty muted, pretty low since gapping up here. We had all of this blue bars over here. Earnings came at a negative 1.69, which was a 6% earnings surprise. So that's our news there. So I did find that other one I wanted to share with everybody. So here it is. Had an IPO at $17. And here's the IPO base. As you can see, IPO base length was 16 days before it broke out. This is kind of what you're looking for. The IPO base breaks out, and then when it starts to sell off, it's usually time to get out. I can show you in previous one we had looked at, IPO base. It's now going to the due diligence phase, and it's under a little pressure in the restaurant group. This is the IPO base. Once again, it was about 16 days. We had a double bottom here. I actually bought it at price at 39, about half, and another half at 40, for about 1,000 shares. So right here is really a day to buy, and then it broke up further over here, went all the way up to 58. I took my profits over here at 52, and then when it pulled back, I bought them back again, and then I got out at 52 over here when it pulled back, and we can see it's a little more volatile fashion, but that's the idea. IPO base is usually pretty short, usually about 16 days, and if the market is favorable at the time, they tend to go up. We can take a look at our go back feature. If we look at Google, so this was 7/31/2015. Let's put 8/15/2015. Go on a daily. So maybe we need to go back a little further. So I thought this was around the IPO, so we can go back a little further to, let's look at 4/30/14. Okay, this is the IPO right here. Then we can just move forward. Building the IPO base. So it came out around 5/87/28. Then, so if you put you draw your line, put across here, either right here or right here as it gaps up would be the buy out of the IPO base. Continues higher. So as you can see, you could take partial profits here. Did have a pretty strong pullback, and it bounces up again, kind of builds into another consolidation. What we got here is a double bottom. See if we can make it above the middle of the double bottom. So this would be another place to buy right here. Got huge volume that day. Follow-up volume the next day. And then it continues on. So that's our show for today. That's a look at IPO base and Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes. Have a great weekend, everybody.